Imagine Peter Parker, all alone in that drab New York apartment. Everyone who ever loved him, everyone who even knew him, has forgotten he exists. He's a complete ghost in his own life. Now imagine a well-dressed stranger shows up, a man with a knowing smile who says, "I can give it all back to you. MJ, Ned, Happy, even May, all of it, for a price you won't even miss." Now picture Yelena Belova, a woman so defined by grief it's hollowed her out. She carries the immense weight of her sister Natasha's sacrifice, a wound that just won't heal. What if that same stranger appeared to her, offering the impossible, a chance to see Natasha again, to hear her voice, to bring her back? This is the cliff on which the MCU may be standing. Based on a wave of speculation and now confirmed reports, Marvel seems to be playing its most anticipated card. The confirmation of Mephisto and Ironheart, played by Sacha Baron Cohen, suggests a new saga is dawning, not of multiverses but of damnation. And according to unconfirmed but detailed leaks about the show, his first move is to tempt the young hero Riri Williams by offering to resurrect a lost loved one. It's a playbook he has perfected in the comics for decades, and if those rumors are true, he might be about to turn that same terrifying playbook on Spider-Man and the White Widow. Before we get into the temptation of Peter and Yelena, we have to talk about the demonic elephant in the room. The long, winding, and let's be honest, frustrating history of Mephisto theories in the MCU. This isn't some brand new idea. It's the payoff to years of speculation. It all kicked off with WandaVision. Fans saw the devil in every single detail. The talk of a demonic husband, the mystery of Billy and Tommy, whose comic origins are literally tied to fragments of Mephisto's soul. It all seemed to be pointing to a big red horned reveal. We all held our breath, waiting for Mephisto to be unmasked, but in the end, it was Agatha all along, and Mephisto became a meme. But the speculation never stopped. It followed us to Loki, with that stained glass window of a devilish figure that got the theory mill going all over again. Then came Spider-Man, No Way Home. Here the comic book history was overwhelming. The most infamous Spider-Man story ever is One More Day, where Peter makes a pact with Mephisto to save Aunt May. When Doctor Strange cast that reality-altering spell, many believed it was the MCU's clever twist on that story, with Strange accidentally playing Mephisto's part. But again, no devil. Mephisto was the boy who cried wolf, the villain fans saw everywhere and nowhere. That all brings us to Ironheart. The rumors around this series have felt different. They've been more specific and more persistent. For months, reports circulated that Sacha Baron Cohen was on set, secretly cast as Mephisto. Then major trade publications started backing up the chatter, confirming it was true. This wasn't just fans connecting dots anymore, this was real industry buzz. The show's premise itself, a clash between technology and magic, feels like the perfect doorway for him to walk through. According to those detailed but still unconfirmed plot leaks, the series introduces Mephisto not as a giant demon, but as a cunning, charismatic manipulator in a more human-looking form. He's rumored to be the one backing the show's antagonist, the Hood, corrupting him with a magical artifact. But the most crucial detail from these leaks, the one that this whole theory is built on, is how Mephisto allegedly targets the hero, Riri Williams. The story goes that he finds her deepest pain point, the tragic death of her best friend. And in the show's rumored climax, he makes her an offer, her friend brought back to life, in exchange for a deal. The leaks claim that Riri, a genius driven by her heart, accepts. If this rumored framework is true, if Marvel uses Ironheart to establish Mephisto's MO as a deal maker who preys on grief, then it establishes a terrifying pattern of behavior. He isn't a conqueror, he's a tempter. His power isn't brute force, but psychological warfare. This makes him a far more personal threat than Thanos or Kang. He doesn't need to snap his fingers to win, he just needs you to shake his hand. So with this potential playbook in mind, let's explore how this predator could turn his attention to the two most emotionally vulnerable heroes in the entire MCU. If he hones his technique on Riri Williams, he'll be ready for bigger game, starting with the hero who has already lost everything, Peter Parker. To see why Peter Parker would be the absolute perfect target for Mephisto, you have to remember the bleak, lonely place he was in at the end of No Way Home. This isn't a hero who just had a bad day. This is a kid who was literally erased from his own life. Every single person who ever loved him has no memory of him. MJ, the love of his life, looks at him like a stranger. Ned, his best friend, has no clue who he is. Happy Hogan, his last link to Tony Stark, is a blank slate. And the spell even erased the world's memory of his Aunt May, whose death he is still reeling from. Peter is completely, utterly alone. He's living in a barren apartment, sewing his own suit, and listening to police scanners by himself. That kind of isolation is a profound psychological wound, and a wound like that is exactly what a predator like Mephisto looks for. In the comics, Mephisto is a master of this. He shows up when a hero is at rock bottom, when they're desperate enough to listen to any dangerous promise. And for Peter, there's a massive comic book precedent for this exact situation. The infamous 2007 story, One More Day. In that story, after Peter reveals his identity during Civil War, Kingpin orders a hit that mortally wounds Aunt May. Peter is destroyed by guilt. He goes to Doctor Strange, Mr. Fantastic, anyone for help, but no one can save her. Just when all hope is lost, Mephisto appears with a deal. He can save May's life by turning back time. The price? Not his soul? The price is his marriage to Mary Jane Watson. He offers to erase it from existence so it never even happened. To save May, Peter and MJ agree. Reality is rewritten and a new era begins, ominously called Brand New Day. Now, look at the parallels in the MCU. Aunt May is already gone, a loss Peter blames himself for. He's isolated, just like he was in the comics. And while it's pure fan speculation at this point, a popular theory online is that the title for the next film could be Spider-Man Brand New Day. If that title, or even just the theme, turns out to be true, it would be a huge signal that the MCU is preparing its own version of this Mephisto-centric story. So how could this play out? Let's speculate. Mephisto, fresh off his rumored success with Riri Williams, sees Peter Parker as his next project. He doesn't need to offer to save Aunt May. That tragedy is already a fixed point. Instead, he can offer something even more tempting to this Peter. He could appear and offer to undo Strange's spell, to give him back MJ and Ned, to give him back the life and the friends he's mourning. For a lonely kid drowning in guilt, that offer would be almost impossible to say no to. But what would Mephisto want in return? His deals are always twisted. Maybe restoring MJ and Ned means someone else is erased from reality. Or maybe it costs him his powers, leaving the world without a Spider-Man. A more sinister price, though, would be a piece of Peter's soul, his moral compass. Mephisto could demand Peter perform one act that violates his code, like letting a villain go free or betraying another hero, all in exchange for getting his old life back. It would be the ultimate test of the lesson May taught him. With great power comes great responsibility. Mephisto's deal would tempt him to trade that responsibility for his own happiness. This is what makes Mephisto so evil. He doesn't need to beat Spider-Man in a fight. He just has to present an impossible choice, where any path taken leads to some form of damnation. If you're enjoying this deep dive into the dark side of the MCU, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. We're only halfway through this theory, and the next potential target is arguably even more vulnerable than Peter. Your support helps us continue to break down these theories every week. Now, let's get back to it. While Peter Parker's vulnerability comes from loneliness, Yelena Belova's is a wound that's been festering for years. It's a lifetime of trauma that ends in a grief that has become her entire identity. In Black Widow, we see her as a child who believes her fake family is real, only to have that ripped away before being forced into the Red Room for 21 years of mind control. Her reunion with Natasha was a reclamation of the only real bond she ever knew. Then she was snapped away for 5 years. When she returned, she learned that Natasha, the one person who gave her a sense of family, was dead. And who tells her? Valentina de Fontaine, who immediately weaponizes that grief and aims her like a weapon at Clint Barton. By the time we see her in Hawkeye, Yelena is running on pure, uncut pain. Her fight with Clint isn't just about revenge, it's about needing someone to blame for a loss she can't process. And according to early descriptions of the upcoming Thunderbolts movie, her character is depressed and emotionally disconnected. A mercenary for hire who is clearly lonely and wants something more. This is a woman totally adrift, which is the perfect hunting ground for a predator like Mephisto. Let's go back to the rumored plot of Ironheart. The central temptation Mephisto reportedly offers Riri Williams is bringing back her dead friend. It's a simple, brutal, and effective strategy. Find a person they miss most and dangle them as the prize. Now, what happens if we apply that same exact logic to Yelena Belova? Who is the one person she would do anything to see again? Natasha Romanoff. Imagine the scene. Yelena is back from a hollow, meaningless Thunderbolts mission. She's in her apartment, feeling as numb as ever. And then he appears, the same well-dressed, charismatic stranger. He doesn't offer her power or money. He offers her the impossible. He offers her Natasha. He could show her a vision, a memory, or even a breathing version of her sister, just for a moment, to prove he can do it. For a woman as consumed by grief as Yelena, this wouldn't just be tempting. It would be a prayer answered. The chance to be a sister again would be irresistible. The price, of course, would be diabolical. For Yelena, a member of the government-backed Thunderbolts, the cost could be tied to her new job. What if Mephisto's price is for Yelena to make sure a specific mission fails? Or worse, to make sure it succeeds in a way that benefits him? He could ask her to retrieve an artifact, eliminate a rival, or corrupt the Thunderbolts from within, turning them into his personal enforcers. This would put Yelena in an impossible position. She'd have to weigh bringing her sister back against betraying her new, dysfunctional family. Would she sacrifice Bucky Barnes or John Walker for one more day with Natasha? It would be the ultimate test of her character. And there's always the horrifying catch. Mephisto is a liar. The Natasha he brings back might not be the real Natasha. She could be a soulless copy, a demonic imitation, or a twisted version from another reality. Yelena could get her wish, only to discover she's brought back a monster wearing her sister's face, a living, breathing reminder of her terrible choice. That's a torture far worse than grief. By targeting Yelena, Mephisto could gain a Black Widow as an asset and an inside agent in the Thunderbolts, a powerful new super team. So why Peter Parker and Yelena Belova? They seem to operate in totally different corners of the MCU. But if we follow this theory, targeting these two isn't random at all. It's a calculated masterstroke. Mephisto wouldn't just be collecting souls, he'd be collecting assets. He would be targeting heroes who are both emotionally compromised and strategically positioned. Think about what he gains. In Peter Parker, he gets Spider-Man, not just a hero with powers, but a brilliant scientific mind and a symbol of hope. To corrupt Spider-Man is to corrupt that very ideal. It sends a message to every other hero. If Spider-Man can fall, anyone can. A deal could put a powerful, compromised hero under Mephisto's influence, a piece he can move on his chessboard at any time. In Yelena Belova, he'd get a different but equally valuable prize. She's a Black Widow, one of the most elite spies on Earth. More importantly, she's part of the Thunderbolts, the US government's own super team. By tempting her with Natasha's resurrection, Mephisto could infiltrate a government-sponsored team from the inside. A compromised Yelena could feed him intel, sabotage missions, or steer the team towards his goals. The Thunderbolts could become his unwitting pawns. If this is his strategy, a chilling pattern emerges. He finds a hero defined by a singular pain, Riri's guilt, Peter's loneliness, Yelena's grief, and offers a perfectly tailored deal. He's not building an army of demons, he's building a portfolio of compromised heroes. What could this all be leading to? The fallout could reshape the entire supernatural side of the MCU. For years, fans have been waiting for a team like the Midnight Suns. A threat like Mephisto, who corrupts heroes from within, is the perfect reason to finally bring together Doctor Strange, Blade, Moon Knight, and maybe even a new Ghost Rider. The fight against him wouldn't be a big battle in New York. It would be a war for the soul of the MCU, fought in the shadows and in the minds of our heroes. Mephisto's introduction, if the rumors prove true, isn't just about adding another villain. It's about introducing a new kind of conflict. It shifts the stakes from the physical to the metaphysical, from saving the world to saving your soul. By tricking Peter Parker and Yelena Belova, Mephisto will be taking two of the MCU's most resilient heroes and turning their greatest strengths, their love and loyalty, into the very tools of their own damnation. This isn't a plan to defeat the Avengers, it's a plan to break them one soul at a time. So where does that leave us? If the long-simmering rumors about Ironheart are true, the MCU is about to unleash its most insidious villain yet. Sacha Baron Cohen's confirmed role as Mephisto isn't just fun casting, it's the potential start of a new, terrifying saga built on corruption. His rumored playbook with Riri Williams, if true, sets a chilling precedent for how he operates. This is the exact strategy he could use against our most vulnerable heroes. For a lonely Peter Parker, the offer to restore his past could set up a tragic MCU-style version of One More Day. For a grief-stricken Yelena, the chance to see her sister again is a cruel lure that could compromise her and the entire Thunderbolts team. This whole thing is a look at a potential grand design, a methodical plan to take over powerful heroes by exploiting their deepest pain. Mephisto doesn't need to throw a punch, he just needs to find what you've lost and offer it back to you with a smile. The consequences would ripple across the entire MCU, paving the way for darker, more personal stories. The question may no longer be if Mephisto is coming, but what will happen when he gets here. What do you think? What would be the ultimate price for these deals? Would Peter trade his responsibility for happiness? Would Yelena betray her team to see Natasha one last time? Let me know your theories down in the comments below. Thanks for watching.